What's up, guys? Hard Pivot, episode 14. We have on Lane, digital artist extraordinaire. Lot of lot of awesome work. Check them out. The links are going to be below, and probably start with that. Not often that I actually have done this, but check out the links below. Check out his art. See where he's coming from, and then listen to the interview because I think it's going to kind of like really set the tone a lot. Had a blast with this guy. Found him on Twitter. Just the art speaks for itself. Blown away. Had an awesome time talking to him. First time meeting him, just kind of DM'd a little bit and then hopped in. And so check it out. Check out his art. Listen to it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're buying his pieces. And to anybody who listens to the full thing, if you guys catch the piece about making art for blind people and you have an idea, I'd love to purchase. Let me know. Reach out. Thank you. Have a good one. Peace. Be safe. I guess do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? You don't have to go with like name or anything like that, but whatever you want to explain about yourself.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm actually my name is Steven, and I'm the person behind Lane Digital Art. Um, I'm a digital artist slash crypto artist. I've been doing it for about a year now, creating in general and um, crypto. I've probably been doing that for since October 2020. So
Ni-
I'm fairly new, I guess.
Mm,
But yeah, I live in Florida. Um, my best friend is Glass Crane, so if that kind of sums up some things.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys, I guess to start with like Glass Crane, right? Like you guys had a collaboration. How do you guys work collaboratively on art pieces?
So with that piece in particular,
Mm,
the actual model itself, I created, like the person, and it's called kit bashing, I guess, where you select geometry and put it on the actual on the model. You like place all these different geometry pieces, and
mm,
when I do it, I like to take a bunch of pieces and make like armor or
mm,
like kind of like clothing, I guess, in a
mm,
sense, with my pieces. I mean, he added a couple pieces to it. There's some people who follow Glass Crane, they know kind of how his artwork goes.
mm,
I kind of bounce around with different kinds of pieces, so
mm,
um, they if someone followed Glass Crane a lot, they could pick up what he did and what he didn't do.
mm,
And then he did the rendering and the lighting and coloring of the piece.
mm.
So that's how that kind of goes down. But I've been doing collabs since this year began with multiple artists already. So they all kind of go different ways.
Mm.
But you kind of like brainstorm a little bit on like what you want to do, what kind of story you want to capture in a piece, and then you just kind of back and forth, well, let's do this. Oh yeah, that looks cool. Okay, we'll do this. And
Mm.
then that's pretty much how it goes though.
Nice. So then, are you guys working on like a digital space, like a easel kind of thing together, and then kind of talking through like a voice channel, or like is it just kind of pass back and forth, or how does it actually go?
Yeah, so it does kind of go like that. So we use Discord
Mm,
or Zoom calls or even on Twitter, we'll message back and forth. We do send the files because it's all done on a software,
mm,
whether it be Cinema 4D or ZBrush or
mm.
Blender, all those, so that we just send the files back and forth if we need to make like situations or stuff.
Nice, nice. It's okay. My
That's
girlfriend's
great.
gonna do the same thing soon. Um, yeah. No, that's actually awesome. So, because like to me, it like I'm just kind of imagining like in person artists working together and just having like a giant piece of whatever artwork in terms of what they're working on, and just like kind of just like one person's painting here and the other guy's up over his shoulder, like that kind of thing in terms of doing it in person.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
couldn't even imagine how
mhm,
that works at
yeah.
all. With this, it's fairly easy because you
Mhm,
can just send a file or, screen share on, Discord and be like,
yeah.
yeah, I like that and let's move this here and, that's kind of how that works.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually I pulled up the picture in front of people and stuff like that, and so like that was like while you were discussing it, so that way people can actually see it and stuff. Like dude, I mean, to me, like the digital art medium is just so crazy. I mean, obviously it's just as limitless as regular art, but the things that you can do in terms of like rendering and the lighting and everything to that extent, like I mean, I'm sure that you're more up to date in terms of the space than I am, but seeing like people's everydays and just everybody, Boss Logic, like a ton of other artists, like it absolutely like blows me like away because I'm just not that creative of a person. So seeing like your artwork, I was just like, oh, okay, I like this is something I can get behind.
Yeah, yeah, the possibilities are literally and endless.
Mhm,
Like most of the time, I just sit in one spot for hours and
mhm,
just plug pieces in, move models around, bend their fingers or
mhm,
I mean texturing in the 3D art space.
mhm,
You can take any 2D image and slap it on an OBJ or a asset, a 3D asset,
mhm,
and just changing, just little things, it
mhm.
changes the whole piece. So it's literally you could you can do anything you want to do.
Nice. Like I guess go to step one. How do you just describe your own art in terms of like style or what you go for or
I mean, honestly, so to give a little bit of backstory, I guess, with myself, so only doing art for almost a year or a year.
mm,
Um, I mean, I literally learned in the shoot. So every piece that I've made, if you go on like my Instagram,
mhm,
you can literally watch my progression of like learning from tutorials and,
mhm,
looking at people that I follow and literally just learning. So like describe to describe my art, I guess, like I normally don't in a lot of my art
mhm,
pieces. And it's just because art's so subjective.
mhm,
Like how I feel about a piece or how I made the piece is going to be completely different from how you look at it,
mhm,
like they all have some kind of emotional meaning to me.
mhm,
So it's just kind of how I go. I just throw on some tunes and I think of like a subject in my head and then I just kind of create a piece with it and then it just kind of evolves as I go.
mhm,
The name changes like 37 times throughout the whole process.
mhm,
So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I mean, the artworks that I have up right now that are current,
mhm,
a lot of them have a like a true meaning to them
mhm,
to me, or I've tried to kind of like leave breadcrumbs in the artwork
mhm.
for someone to kind of catch on to it.
Nice.
But it's kind of hard to do that
Mhm.
sometimes.
So then with it having internal meaning like that, is it hard to like sell the pieces then, like to not be the owner per se, right? Like on the blockchain.
Well, no, they're my art. I mean, it's my artwork
Hmm.
and it's on the blockchain,
Hmm.
but like there's just no description. It's kind of like it's up like when someone else looks at the art piece, they're
Hmm.
gonna spark some kind of emotional connection to it.
Hmm.
But I don't want to put a description on there because I don't want to like manipulate your organic thought process of
Hmm.
why you like that piece.
Yeah.
Now, if you had like some kind of description, you would like that piece because of that description.
Hmm.
But I just like the organic thought because like I have some, followers or people who will reach out to me and be like, this piece means this and this and this to me.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, well, I never thought of it that way because that's not what it means to me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I don't do that. Some pieces I do though. I've started, putting a little bit of description in there why I did it the way I did it. But I'm learning as I go.
Mm.
It's all new to me too.
Yeah. I mean, dude, for doing it for a year, I mean, like a lot of your pieces are absolutely incredible. I like just going through your work and everything to that extent. So, I mean, kudos to you in terms of doing it in a year because I know that if I had many years, it's not happening. I have not
It's
messed in
it's
3D rendering, but I don't think I have that talent.
it's absolutely crazy. Like I was telling, Glass Crane today, I was
Mhm,
like, I don't even know how I got here. Like
mhm,
I remember when I started, I couldn't do anything. I think
mhm,
like the hardest thing for me was to learn like the all the different programs, like their UIs, like trying to like, okay, so how do I do that? How do I move the object? Like I can't even figure out how to move something on
mhm,
here. Like, and I literally like I so I've known Glass Crane for like 12 years.
mhm,
So I've seen him come up, through his art career,
mhm,
and it just looked really interesting to me. And I was like, well, I'm kind of creative. Let me,
mhm,
I've sat there with him while he's made some pieces, and I'm like, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. I don't know how to do it, but you should do it. And he's like, oh yeah, I like that. So I was like, I want to try this. So I'd come over and like, cause he lives close by,
mhm,
and I'm like, let me try to make a piece. So I make a piece and then the addiction started.
Hmm.
So I ended up getting the softwares and literally sacrificing every waking hour trying to learn. I'd go to sleep to tutorials
Hmm.
and, you know, studying like color theory and all the different things to kind of make these art pieces. And then one day I made one and I
Hmm.
was like, this is sick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna keep going. And now I've probably made like 60 artworks.
Hmm.
And then I've probably got like 30 that I've never put out, just sitting as assets in a folder that I can play with later.
Nice.
But I'm just constantly going, learning
Awesome.
new things.
Yeah. No, that's fucking dope, dude. Um, like, do
But
you?
anybody can
Mhm.
learn it.
Mhm.
Anybody could learn it. If you wanted to really learn it, you just
Mhm.
have to put in the time.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
if
anything.
I did it, if I did it, you can do it.
Hmm.
Like I have no art background whatsoever.
Hmm.
Like I sell wine and spirits for a living. That I have a full-time job. Like,
Nice.
you know?
Hmm.
So
So now, with like, what are your takes on like skeptics on the industry, right? Like, if you if you've ever had somebody ask you a question of what is digital art, I've had the flat statement thrown back at me of it's art that's digital and stuff to that extent. But what's your take on skeptics in terms of, well, how do you own it and stuff to that extent? Like, do you just believe in the blockchain, or what's your, I guess, yeah.
so like as far as I know, being kind of new in the crypto space,
Mhm.
but so digital art is just like any other art, physical art,
Mhm.
but this is like, so like a physical art piece that's put up in a gallery, right? You go to that gallery, you say, oh, okay, this is an art piece. This is, you know, whoever, I can't even think right off the top of my head.
Mhm.
Physical artist is art piece. They know for
Mhm.
sure that's it. You purchase it, you own that piece.
Mhm.
So the crypto art world is the same thing, but for digital artists.
Mhm.
We encrypt our art pieces on that blockchain, on the Ethereum blockchain.
Mhm.
It's encrypted on that blockchain. It'll be on there until way past our lifetimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like it in a sense because, like anybody can go on the internet and just, screenshot a picture,
Mhm.
and put it as their, background on their phone. I do it all the time.
Mhm.
Same thing, but you don't actually own it.
Mhm.
Like if you did that on your phone and like tried to sell it, online,
Mhm.
you don't own the rights to that. On the blockchain, it's like a contract.
Mhm.
It has a history of where it's been. Like I post it for sale, you buy it, right? And
Mhm.
then you go to sell it again, it makes another contract. I get a royalty from it,
Mhm.
and then it goes on to the next owner. But you can look up the history of each one of these art pieces and
Yeah.
see, who bought it, how much it was sold for, and it's just the most legit form of us selling our digital art pieces.
Yeah.
But there, I mean, there is, it's very new. It's a new situation, so there's some things that happen sometimes that aren't very cool,
Mhm.
like people taking other people's digital art and selling it on the blockchain
Mhm.
as their own. But the community's so good that they get caught most of the time.
Yeah. So then, what ends
So
up happening as far as like that kind of thing going? I'm new to it too. I've seen a post about that, but I don't like. How do you stop that? Like, how does that person kind of get shut down?
well, the community, us being all like together and stuff, we keep an eye out for each other.
Mm-hmm.
We got each other's backs if we see it, and then we just report it to that platform.
Mm-hmm.
Show proof like, hey, because there's been a lot of like artists that aren't even on the crypto. They're not even in the crypto world. They're just digital artists and Instagram or
Mm-hmm.
some of the other platforms, and they get their works being sold on Rarible
Oop, you just
or wherever, any platforms, and it's not theirs.
mm-hmm.
And then they get reported and they take it down, but I don't know exactly what happens to the person afterwards because, I mean, it's so new, but I think eventually some things will get regulated and maybe
Mm-hmm.
there'll be some kind of penalty or punishment for that because I mean, it's just messed up.
Yeah.
I've seen it like 4 or 5 times already, so I don't know how that's going to go down, but I'm sure they'll come up with some kind of regulation for that.
Mm-hmm. So for you, in terms of like the royalties and everything like that, obviously that's all really awesome. But which do you have like a preference in terms of marketplace and stuff, or is there any kind of pros and cons, or it's just throw some up here and so throw some up there?
So when you're new like I am, it's a really big topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to like I don't even know how I would say that, but like you start on Rarible. I mean, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much everybody kind of starts on Rarible. It's an open platform.
Mm-hmm.
Just about anybody can join it and post their artwork. And and then you want to try and get verified on there. So then at least collectors and other artists know that you're the real deal. You're not just, somebody stealing somebody's shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens
Yeah.
still, even if they're verified. Um, and then, I've applied to some other platforms,
Mm-hmm.
and it a lot of the platforms are just there's so many artists, they see people have these huge success stories and they're like, oh, well, I want to, sell my artwork there. So
Mm-hmm.
they run, straight to the platforms and apply. And, I'm sure these guys are swamped with applications and people get overlooked and some people just get denied. I mean, they can't handle the amount of people that are running to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally get it. And I applied to some others and I got on Crypto Art AI. It's a newer platform. I think that it has some strong potential though.
Mm-hmm.
And, they got some bugs and stuff here and there because it's a new platform, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess there's an update coming up where that'll fix some things. It's a little
Nice.
more I guess it's more about like the curation of the platforms
Mm-hmm.
that kind of helps artists out, like Known Origin,
Mm-hmm.
Nifty Gateway, Super Rare. I mean, those are big platforms with a lot of success on there, and they're like really trusted,
Mm-hmm.
So the collectors are more, you know, about buying the pieces on there because it's like a secure source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rareable's kind of because it's like where everybody goes in the beginning. It's like so oversaturated with artists.
Mm-hmm.
Probably I don't even know how many collectors, probably, and artists. It's just overrun. Um, I've sold 4 pieces on there so far.
Mm-hmm.
I sold 4 in 2020.
Nice.
So I've had some success on Rarible. But um, you know, it's I don't know. I just try to apply as many as I can get, and if they accept me, great. If
Mm-hmm.
not, maybe I'll apply a little later, but I mostly just focus on my art and maybe it'll come to me one day.
Yeah. Let the art speak for itself, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's you still have to apply though, because they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to come after you. There's too many. There's way too many artists coming, applying on there.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see what that application process looks like. It's probably stacked.
Just
It's
drowning in
probably
it.
just millions of people. It's got to be so overwhelming. But I think some of them are starting to open up again,
Mm-hmm.
and they're starting to allow some artists through. I've seen Known Origin is starting to bring some artists into the scene, so I'm sure Super Rare will open up eventually, and I'm sure they're just trying to find a better way to
Yeah.
sift through all the applications.
Nice, man. Well, I mean, hopefully at some point this podcast will end up helping that. But for right now,
Yeah,
we're both just kind of meandering. I don't know what the right. No,
yeah,
that's not the right word. I guess. Gems in the rough. Gems in the rough.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot out there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's artists that have been artists for 25 years that got denied from some
Mm,
of these platforms.
it's
So
crazy.
it's like that's why I'm not stressing about it too much. Like
Mm,
I've only got maybe a year in this. Yeah, I think my artwork's pretty damn good,
mm,
but like I'd feel somewhat morally wrong if I like stepped ahead of somebody that's like
mm.
somebody I looked up to,
Yeah.
in my career of art. So yeah, I don't know.
But in the time, man, it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, it'll happen eventually.
Yeah. So what's your? I mean, most of your works, I think, I'm not gonna claim encyclopedic knowledge, but most of your work seem to be still. What's your take on like still versus animated pieces?
Um, so I like stills because it's just what I learned first, like
Mm,
animations and stuff like that. Like I I don't really I know how to do them kinda, sorta,
mm,
but it's also like a hardware thing. Oh, there
mm.
goes another person. Sorry, I got roommates.
It's all good.
You might as well just walk by.
It's
But
okay.
yeah, so yeah, the animate like my hardware can't really handle like
Mm,
it just takes so long to render something.
mm,
Like almost like I did a 7-second clip one time, a loop, and
mm,
it took 9, what did it say? I think it was like was like 3 days
Wow.
to render it. And I'm like, like the amount of time that it like holds up my computer hostage
Hmm.
to do that, I could make like 5 stills. Like,
Yeah.
I, I, maybe eventually one day when I like upgrade,
Hmm.
I can, start popping those things out more. I actually
Hmm.
have a collab piece I'm working on right now that's going to be animated, but I'm probably going to send it to somebody to render for me that has
Hmm.
better stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's kind of I like stills though because you can sit there and stare at that one piece for a while and pick up something new every time you look at it if
Hmm.
you take the time to look at it. That's the
Yeah.
only thing. You post something on Twitter or wherever, you got people scrolling, they might just
Hmm.
look at it for a second and then move on. But I think like a true fan or somebody that's actually invested in the work, they're going to look at that piece and try and figure out what I was trying to portray or
Hmm.
yeah. So that's why I do that, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I like for me, I definitely agree with the take that there's just so much that you can kind of like hide in like just tiny details and stuff. And for me, I think like the biggest issue that I had with like the last like the Nifty Gateway drop, um, it's escaping me. The crap, uh, the last one with all the God type drop. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Uh, it was the animated loops of the different I don't know, godlike type figures. And it was kind of frustrating to try to like keep continuously re-watching the loop because there's just too much black space where it's flat empty, right? In like the beginning and
Mm.
stuff. And like I do want to see those details and stuff to that extent. So I hope that there's something that's coming in the works for being able to pause, because like I want to be able to see like, the fate. And like obviously that's just a person moving, but in terms of like say a more detailed piece like your own that gets animated, I want to be able to pause it and watch whatever movements are occurring, the action in the actual sequence, and not just have to piece it together every single time that it reloops.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another take on it too, I guess. Like
Mm.
with animations, there's a lot you can miss, with the stills, you can just look at that art piece for what it is
Mm.
and, sit there for however long you want and take notes and, wonder, how somebody did something, or whatever. But with the loops, yeah, they get a little, some of them are too fast and
Mm.
yeah, you have to, but slowing them down and everything, that's more frames, so that's more time it has to render. Because
Mm.
whether you have a $2,000 computer or a $10,000 computer, you still have to render it, and it
Mm.
still takes time. It doesn't matter, it's whether it's 4 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour,
Mm.
that's still time.
Yeah.
So, or days. Some of
Yeah.
them are days. Definitely days. There's people with less than I have that
Mm.
sit there and let their stuff render for days
Mm.
and then, what if you render it for, it's been rendering for 6 hours and something happens to your computer and then you got to start all
Yeah.
over. So, or you see something that you didn't see when you're, making it and you're like, oh, I don't like that. I got to fix it. So you have to stop it, go
Mm.
in, fix it, restart it. Nope.
Yeah.
I'll stick to the stills.
Nice, nice. So this is something that's like, so I have a guy who helps me out with like the podcast a little bit, and he happens to be blind. How would you try to make artwork for blind people in terms of the blockchain?
Oof. I don't know. I never even crossed my mind on that one.
Hmm.
I mean, in terms of the blockchain, I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have to research that a little more on even how you would do that. I know you could, they could purchase it on the blockchain,
Hmm.
but you can like put them in those like infinite objects. You
Hmm.
can put the art pieces in that so it's physical,
Hmm.
and then maybe make a some type of QR code, maybe with what's that what is it, Braille? Is it
Hmm.
Braille that they use?
Hmm. With
Maybe
like
something
lettering,
on there
yeah.
that could, yeah, they could describe maybe the art piece
Hmm.
in, I don't know, that's a different take on that. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's totally off the cuff. I
We'll have to
just
brainstorm with some other people about that. That could
yeah.
be a thing.
If you do, I will be sure to be purchasing as a gift for this guy. He helps me out on a lot of the podcasts, and I just found out, so it's just relevant, and so I figured, whatever, he's gonna be listening to this. So if a piece comes out and you can make something, then I will be gifting it to him. So,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us artists before crypto art was ever a thing, we always, we made prints of our art.
mm,
So, I mean, I'm sure there's a way to print the art and kind of make, more kind of like textured, I guess.
mm.
I'm sure there's ways to do that. There's got to be a way. I'm gonna
Well,
look into that
all right, awesome.
because that'd be cool to be able to, share my art with
Mm,
all walks of life, not just, the normal people that do it with.
mm,
Yeah.
nice. What as like a digital artist, what do you think you're most struggling with in terms of starting out or getting stuff done or whatever?
Um, I would guess maybe it's not so much now, but mostly in the beginning, like the time management, like well, I guess it is now too, like working a full-time job completely unrelated to this,
Mm,
completely, working 40 hours and then, you come home from work just like anybody else and you're like, ugh, I don't want to do
mm,
anything, but like I gotta make art. Like I strive to at least, do something with art every single day.
mm,
Not maybe not in the same kind of like work as people, where he makes an art piece every single day.
yeah.
Like that's freaking awesome.
Mm,
Like I wish I could do that, but I just can't. Like
mm,
most of the time the process is like I'll think of the piece and then I'll make the piece the next day. So
mm,
that's usually how it kind of works. But time management's big because like I'll work all day and then I'll stay up all night till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And this is
yeah.
every day, literally. Stay up till 4 in the morning. Finally, like, okay, it's 4. Like I need to shut my computer off. I need to go to bed
Mm.
because I gotta wake up at 7.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, so that's me. I mean, and people like on Twitter and stuff, they can attest to it because they'll see me up all night and I'll be chatting with them or on Discord or whatever,
Mm,
and then I go to sleep for those 3 hours and I go to work. I repeat it, the next day. So
mm,
that, and then, a big thing with like, I don't know if this is like the thing that's going on, but they call it clout,
mm,
like having the followers, the following,
mm,
it's kind of hard. Like some people will buy their followers or,
mm,
you know, whatever. But I'm just me, I'm just focusing on my art and they'll come. My
mm,
followers will come eventually. But I think that's one way, like some of the platforms are looking at it. Like,
mm,
you know, do we want you to be on our platform if you're not, there's some kind of money factor in there, like investment.
mm,
Same with collectors, they're not going to buy art if they don't think it's going to make them any money later on in the future.
mm,
It's an investment. They're investing in art, they're investing in the artist,
mm.
stuff like that. So, if there's no following, just there's no want for the art.
Yeah.
So that's a hard process for a lot of new artists
Mm,
because, I have like a little over 400 followers, I think, somewhere
mm,
around there. I just kind of stopped focusing on that. I just focus on making my art, but that's one of them. Not having clout or
mm,
how to get clout,
mm,
how to get the following so that you can get on these bigger platforms and, you know, get your art,
mm.
collected by some of the legends out there.
Yeah.
Like that when I did the collab with Glass Crane's pretty damn well known. I
Mm,
mean, he's well known in many different industries.
mm,
So he has the following, but it was special for us to do that piece besides all that and to be on Super Rare. He's on Super Rare. I'm
mm,
not on Super Rare. So um, there's a specific collector, Colin Goltra.
mm.
I've talked to him a couple times because Glass Crane, he kind of like marked me on Twitter saying that I'm his protege because, well, he taught me. He
Yeah.
taught me a lot of stuff. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be making art.
Mm,
I wouldn't know how to do half the stuff I know how to do. And he marked me as his protege, and I knew that one, I need to get on Super Rare eventually.
mm,
So, because Gultra doesn't collect pieces anywhere else but Super Rare.
mm.
He's very committed to that platform. His collection's like legendary,
Oh, yeah.
So that was a big goal for me is to be a part of his collection.
Mm,
I thought it was because I was going to be on Super Rare, but I ended up being on Super Rare as a collaboration,
mm.
and I ended up in his collection. So I'm like, whoo, it's a goal. it's a
Nice.
goal. Like I beat a goal without even I like skipped a step in my goals to
Mhm,
get to that goal. So I'm, just happy and I feel honored to be a part of that collection.
mhm,
But yeah, so the problems though are just time management, your following, your clout, stuff
mhm.
like that, and then hardware. Hardware is expensive.
Yeah, yeah,
Even the programs and the plugins for all these
yeah.
softwares are so expensive.
Mhm,
Like especially for someone who's not really making that much money off their artwork.
mhm.
Like I mean, my sales that I have made, I mean, I probably made about $500, which is
Nice.
great, and I'm thankful. But when one plugin's $500,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's crazy.
it's it's so tough. It's
Mhm,
so tough, especially just starting out.
mhm.
So I think that those are the main things. So clout.
Clout, clout. So then, I mean, I guess in the same vein, like, what if you could just, whatever, wave a magic wand, like, how do you fix or change something in the NFT space?
It's hard to say because like if you open up the gates,
Mm,
then it'll end up like Rarible,
mm,
where they've gotten better. They've upgraded some of their stuff on their platform.
mm,
So like I'll notice when I like change a price on a piece or I post a new art piece on there, it'll sit on that front page for a little bit,
mm,
but someone's like uploading like 30 NFTs that are all different colors and it's the
mm.
same piece, so it just brushes you right off that front page.
Yeah.
And then they got the following options, so now you can see the marketplace as just the people you follow.
Mm,
But just like Clout, everyone follows everybody,
yeah.
so it's not really like tailored to the artist.
Mm,
And then Rarible doesn't really they don't curate the thing. Like if you have a new art piece you're gonna drop, they're not gonna be like, oh, on Twitter or somewhere, there's a new drop coming from like Lane or
mm.
whoever, and it just kind of gets washed up. You just fade into the
Abyss.
mix of all the art. Yeah, literally. Like I would think in the beginning, I was always thinking, I was like, man, I'm just not selling any art. But then I'm like, well, how many people really even saw it?
Hmm.
Like, it's not going to sell if no one sees the art,
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know. I don't know how it would fix. I mean, I guess it just has to come from your skill,
Hmm.
really. Like your art's just got to get good, and the better it looks, the more people are gonna, you know, follow you, and
Hmm.
you get on the. I think that if you're on one of the top platforms, though, that definitely will help.
Yeah.
But you got to get there somehow,
Mm,
and it might be luck, or it might be your art, or something. But I really don't. I don't know the end all fixing to everything,
mhm.
and I don't want to be the person that decides what what it's gonna be.
Mhm.
I'm not even nowhere near that position, so I just make art, man, and try
Keep
to
your
do
head
my
down and
best
go.
at that. Yeah, I try. I mean, I get involved with the community. I love talking to other artists
Mm,
and stuff like that, and the collectors. I'm pretty close with YFI fan.
mhm,
It's a collector on Rarible.
mhm.
Actually owns two of my artworks from there.
Nice.
So, just thanking them and getting to know who they are and
Mm,
pretty much friends. Like we talk to each other about other artists,
mm,
about art pieces. Like I kind of look at myself as possibly being like a hybrid one day,
mm.
collector slash artist.
Nice.
Because like I'll like a piece and then YFI will be like, oh, I like that piece, and then YFI will buy that piece, and I'm like, I'm like, damn, you bought that. I was gonna buy it, but I can't afford it right now. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on
You
that.
know, it just happens, but
Mhm,
it's cool because we have like a trust with each other and stuff. So
mhm,
building a relationship with a collector is pretty cool
mhm,
because I feel like in the physical art space, you don't really get an opportunity to do something like that.
mhm.
Like your favorite artist, you send them a message. What are the chances they reply back to you?
Yeah, yeah. Kind of
It's
absurd.
not happening.
Yeah, kind of
It's not
absurd.
happening.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's kind of still like that. I mean, I'm sure that if I sent a message to like Android Jones, he'd never get it. But that's like the biggest legend ever.
Mm,
But I'm like one person away from that guy with Glass Crane,
mhm.
so because they're buddies. So
Nice.
but I don't like to pull the name card too much.
Mm.
But
It'll
yeah,
be helpful. I think it'll be helpful. I think that's I think that collabs are, it's something that you see in like a lot of spaces, and I think that like you obviously like if you become super successful, you have to then help other people become super successful, right? And I think that through collabs and like through talent, like even if you don't work directly with somebody, I think that the just the shout out on Twitter kind of thing, like I agree with you. I think that that name dropping on Twitter, not in terms of you name dropping Crane, but like in terms of Crane name dropping you, will be super helpful, right? And then as you do other collaborations, and I mean, it's so hard to be like what you are in terms of like the artist, but I think if you're interacting with people who are in the space, I think that'll really help you to blow up because the talent. I mean, to me at least, like I think that a lot of your art pieces showcase the talent, and so if you just keep putting your name out there, somebody's gonna click that link, and then as more people click the link, more people share, and it's just kind of like that snowball effect. I think.
correct. I mean, like the more your name is like used, the more
Mm-hmm,
relevant it is. So like
mm-hmm,
when they hear it again, they're like, "Oh wait, I know that name."
mm-hmm,
And then that's how it all starts, right?
yeah.
So like, and I don't look at myself as being successful yet. I don't think I'll ever look at myself like that because that's the guy I chase, you
Mm-hmm,
know? Like that's my goal. Like
yeah.
I just keep chasing the next better me, you
Mm-hmm,
know? But like there's younger, I'll say younger artists or, newer artists that I talk to all the time. I help them with anything I can.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes another artist will send me another artist and be like, "Hey, they're asking for help on this. Do you know how to do it?"
mm-hmm,
And I'm always willing to help because like it was done for me.
yeah.
So I'm if I know how to do it, I'm gonna help them out as much as possible.
Mm,
And Glass Crane's the same way.
yeah.
Like he's super generous. He helped me with a lot. Like I can remember so many like late night Zoom calls at
Mm,
like 1 o'clock in the morning, like so frustrated. Like, how do you do this?
mm,
And he would get on for like 10 minutes and literally walk me through it, how to do it. Like, I'm down to do that for anybody
mm,
because if we're all successful, that's like the best thing ever.
yeah.
Like in this community, it's new.
Yeah.
So we're the pioneers. Let's all help each other.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've reached out to so many people and a lot of people will talk to you. So
Mm-hmm,
I mean, I was scared at first. It's a
mm-hmm,
little nerve-wracking to
yeah.
talk to some of these because like you get on Instagram and you can look at all these digital artists and you're like, wow, how did they do that?
Yeah.
And then you talk to them and they actually like talk back and you're like, whoa, like I'm
Yeah.
talking to the person I look up to right now. This
Mm-hmm,
is really crazy. So it's a cool space and everyone tagging each other is really awesome. I try and retweet if I see some art and I like it, I'm retweeting it.
mm-hmm,
Like if I think it's awesome, I want everyone to see it.
yeah.
There's a lot of artists like that, like Yellow Milk, Addicted to Flex.
Mm-hmm,
That's his handle on Twitter, Addicted to Flex.
mm-hmm,
He's just pumping out the greatness right now, and he's a new artist,
yeah.
and I can't wait to do a collab with him.
Mm,
Like it's in the works this year.
nice.
2021 is the year of the collab for me. I did one with a 2D artist
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. That was like the hardest thing I ever did in my life.
Which piece was that? I'll pull it up
Um,
for you.
it's with Brain Pasta. Make You Howl is his handle.
Let me see.
It's called The Unexpected Guest.
Let me see.
It's an animation actually. Took
Is it
took
it's the house picture, right? The room
yeah,
picture. Sorry.
yeah, it's like in a living room. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just see. I just want to be able. To, okay. I just want to be able to pull it up for people.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see. There you go. Just so that way people can kind of like watch through and see it.
Yeah, it's a still with an animation in it.
Mm-hmm,
So it's definitely a collab with like me and a 2D artist. Um,
mm-hmm,
it was difficult for me because like in the 3D space,
mm-hmm,
you just create all these objects and then you slap textures on them and that's just how it goes.
mm-hmm,
Add some roughness and some displacement. But with him, his work is he just draws it.
mm-hmm.
Like I can't draw with shit. Like I
Same.
can't. I can't. Like my hands shake and shit. Like there's no way I can't even draw a straight line.
Mm-hmm,
Even in some of the softwares you have to like I use like a drawing tablet.
mm-hmm,
Oh, it's horrible.
yeah.
I can't draw. So he paints and draws and stuff.
Mm-hmm,
So he would send me some of his artwork.
mm-hmm,
Like he'd scan it in
mm-hmm,
and then he'd send it to me and I'm like, how am I how am I gonna work with this? Like,
Mm,
do I like make an object and just slap his stuff on there as like a texture, like a
mm,
picture texture?
mm,
So that's what I did initially. I like pulled up a cube and slapped his artwork on it. And I was like, okay, that's cool,
mm.
but this is not gonna work. I literally had trouble. Like I even like consulted Glass Crayon. I'm like, dude, like how the hell do I do this? Like I don't know. I don't. And then all of a sudden it just like dawned on me. I'm like, dude, I could like make a TV
Mm,
and put his artwork on the TV,
mm,
create a whole like living room scene, have two people on the couch watching the TV,
mm.
and then I took like another one of his artworks and I threw it on the wall like as like a fan would, like a print.
Yeah.
So that, like they're fans of brain pasta. And then I was like, yo, what if I put an animation on the TV? So then
Mm,
it's real, like it's really a TV.
yeah.
So and this shit just started coming to me. So these are all thoughts at this point. So I'm like just doing it. And then it just turned into that. And I put two of my artworks that I've, never minted or anything like that. They're just artworks that I made
Mm.
earlier in my career and then put them on the wall and just created that whole thing. It took like 9 hours to render.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I have stills that take like 3 hours to render sometimes.
Mm. Now,
It's just
what's the powerhouse behind rendering? Is it the GPU or is it the CPU or is it RAM or some combination?
um it's your video card.
Mm,
Video card and I think that's all that has to do with it. GPU is more or less when like you're actually like making the art pieces. Like I hear my fans kick on and I'm like, oh boy. Like my computer sounds like it's been on a marathon run for
yeah.
a while. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, but like I mean, I don't know if I can overclock mine. I think I used to,
Mm,
but like it's just I think it just has to do with your video
mm.
cards basically. And like I have a GTX 1660 Ti,
Okay.
so it's not like some of these people have like 1080,
Yeah.
whatever they are. I tried to put one in mine, but it's too
Mm.
big. Oh, so a little little
It
little
was
cat
knocked over the wine
showdown.
battle.
Yeah, it's a fake bottle, so it's okay. Yeah, just cats.
Nice.
But yeah, it's the video cards that do it,
Mm,
and mine's just not strong enough.
mm,
I mean, it does well. I mean, I'm still able to create art, but
mm.
there's definitely an upgrade coming
Nice.
for sure. Because I just I can't even make art to my full potential
Mm.
because a lot of times, the programs will freeze and crash and I'll forget to auto save or something. And I can't even tell you how many artworks I've lost
That
due to
sucks, man.
crashing or your computer overheating
Yeah.
or, it happens to all of us though. It's the same story.
Mm.
Anybody will tell you that it happens. So, yeah.
So for you in like the space, I don't. So I recently hopped in just fully, and it happened with Pax Work, the title, and so I had hopped in. I had like looked at some stuff. I had loaded some ETH onto an account, not some ETH, just some dollars, less than one ETH, for a couple of drops, and like I went for People's the one every day post, like the $1 one that got smoked. But so because of Pax drop, I really like dove pretty deep in terms of like Pax Twitter. And so, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know if it's Pack or Pac, but I assume it's Pack. Um,
I think it's back.
okay, all right, let's hope so. Otherwise, I sound like a moron. But so in terms of like Pack, he had a post of like what is like a hodler versus like what is a flipper in terms of the pieces, and I'm just curious what your take is, right? Because your work could eventually be flip versus hodl, right? And so, what's your take on what defines a hodler versus a flipper?
I don't know, man. I'd have to probably like look up the definition. Do you know the definition of both of those? Because
So,
like the crypto part, like all
mm,
the crypto terminology, I
mm,
will admit I am not up to date. Like
mm,
I don't know what any of that means.
uh,
Like I just bought like a couple $100 of Bitcoin
mm,
and I have ETH from my sales, but like I'm not like I know about the dips in the market and
mm,
stuff, but I don't know, that much stuff
mm.
about crypto.
So, I think his take is basically like a hodler is more somebody who's like in it to like hold the art longer term, right? And a
Yeah.
flipper is somebody who is just like quick selling it. But then I guess the nuance is like at what point, like if you sell long term, right? And this is something that like really affects my take on it. If you sell in 5 years or 10 years, are you still not a flipper? You still flip the item, right? Like somebody flips a house, right? If you flip it in 10
Yeah,
years, you still flip the house. So by basic definition, you're a flipper. But some people are trying to draw a line of people who are like short buying things, right? Like his piece was called the flipper, right? The one of 99, and then there was the one of 3. And the one of 99 was only $1, and so he called it the flipper because people would flip it for like an initial cash grab. But to me,
yeah.
if you're hodling but you still sell the piece, like do you really love the piece, or if you're just going at it from like a monetary value, right? Like if you hold a piece for 20 years because you think Pac's going to be this monster phenom, are you still not a flipper? And that's yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, Pac is already like a monster
Mm,
phenom. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
minimal art. I mean, basic shapes, and he just puts a little spin on it, and
Mm,
it's selling for 30, 40, 50 ETH
yeah.
or more. I mean, it's like it
Mm,
like blows my mind. I'm like, oh shit, like damn, So like the flipper,
mm,
as you describe it, would be perfect for him. You buy something for $1 and you could flip it for 10 grand or more
yeah.
this like literally the next minute
Yeah.
because it's packed piece. But then like the hodler, I guess you would call it,
Mm,
for like new artists like me or like Yellow Milk or
mm,
Brain Pasta or anybody in the scene who's
mm,
new, you buy their artwork at a really you know cheap price and then
mm,
hold it for 20 years. Who's to say that I'm not like Pack,
mm,
in 10 years or 20 years,
mm,
or, like Glass Crane, another year or
mm,
something, and you bought it for, you know, let's just say $700, right? And then you're
mm,
able to flip it 10 years down the road for 15 grand
mm,
or 10 grand.
yeah.
So that's kind of probably what they're talking about there.
Mm,
Like you make investments on the younger artists, the newer artists
mm,
early while it's cheap in a monetary value, I guess.
mm,
And then later on, it's like a true investment.
mm, yeah. Yeah.
But the established artists, you can flip them the next day. They're going to
Yeah.
sell.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it instantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think
What
that's where that.
so for you, like where do you get like inspiration? Where do you have like hobbies that you kind of overlap into this? Like I know that you said you listen to music. Like do you find like the music inspires you, or any kind of overlap in different things?
So, hmm. A lot of it, like I don't like look at like too much other people's art. So
Mm,
like I'm not like looking on Twitter at everybody's art, like,
mm,
oh, I wonder how they did that. I want to try and do the same thing, kind
mm,
of. I don't do that. It all kind of comes from in my head. I don't
mm,
know. I just think of these things on the fly. I don't, it might be a song that just kind of makes me feel a certain type of way,
mm,
but like the inspiration truly comes from myself.
mm,
And then I don't know, we can talk about this here, but like psychedelics.
mm. Yeah.
Psychedelics is a big one in this space.
Mm,
The music for sure. Like I listen to a lot of like Tipper and stuff that you listen to at like the festivals,
mm,
you know, and just and a lot of that doesn't even have words, so
mm,
it's just like weird sounds. Kind of takes me into like a trippy place,
mm,
even if you're not on site psychedelics,
mm,
just trippier places. And some of my psychedelic experiences or visions, I guess you would call it,
mm,
I try to put into my work.
mm,
There's been some pieces that have sold already
mm,
that were, you can definitely tell there's some kind of vision
mm,
behind that. So yeah, it's a lot of that. Psychedelic trip like visions, I guess, inspire it.
mm,
Like other dimensions, that kind of thought process,
mm,
or futuristic stuff. Like I like a lot of robots. I try to
mm.
make a lot of robotic looking pieces.
Yeah.
It's just fun to me to kind of like fantasize like what that would be like to have.
Mm,
So some of those art pieces, like the Kit Bash one with Glass Crane, that was
mm,
totally some trippy vision
yeah.
type stuff going on there with a little robotics. So
Mm,
like Android-esque, I
mm,
guess. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It comes from that. A lot of it's just all in my head though. Like I don't know how I think of half of this stuff. Like I don't know where it comes from sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know, but it's dope. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep on going.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that's all that matters.
yeah, yeah. It's just a lot of emotion is poured into my pieces. It's just
Mm,
I hide it in some way so that you can't figure it out sometimes. But
mm,
it's just me. Just that's the one thing I like about it most. Like I can
mm,
literally let out all my emotion into a piece, and it's subjective, so you can't really tell. Like it's gonna
mm,
mean whatever it means to you, not what it means to me.
mm. Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of like that kind of discussion is where I like where Paxby spoke to me. I was just really like for me starting out with that piece, seeing it, I was just kind of like, "Oh fuck is this?" I'm not gonna lie, right? Like it was it was 8 or 9 pieces. They were all the same, and then again, I'm not this kind of like my brain doesn't work that same way that yours and his does, and so then you break down like each piece, and you're like, "Fuck, dude." Like I can't come up with that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like you understand, or to me, feel like I understood his piece that the title matters more than the piece, right? And like you're saying, where you don't name pieces, and feel free to use this as creation ideas, but I thought about a piece and you could have an overlaid image of like blue and orange, right? And together they would make one piece, but separately they would make a blue piece and an orange piece. So you'd have like a blue and then an orange, and then together it would be something different, right? Like if you actually like overlaid the images. And so, like for some reason, that's what came to mind in terms of his work, right? Where the title matters so much. Where like if you name a blue, like if everything is painted blue and orange, and I name it blue, and you only look at the blue stuff, what do you see? If you only name it orange, what do you see? And then if there's blue and like like I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, so Pac to me is like the modern day Riddler from
mm,
Batman. Like he literally like creates these puzzles,
mm,
and it's like a game for the collector to figure out.
mm,
And like some of it's so next level, like I look at it, I'm like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Like,
mm,
and then you see the artwork and you're like how did he do that?
mm,
But like I said, there's artists that have been in this industry for a long time. Maybe not the crypto art industry, but in
mm,
the digital space. And they've got these tools at their disposal that a new artist, it's going to take me some time to learn how to do
mm,
even something with his artwork that's so minimalist,
mm,
but the skill that's in that one piece is just
yeah,
like I can't even. And if you watch his Twitter, like just the little breadcrumbs he leaves everywhere for you to
mm,
pick up on, like if you're into that, like it's the best game you ever played.
yeah,
And then you get to collect the piece on top of it. That's like
mm.
it's uncharted territory for me.
Got to
But
start
it's
being more
cool.
aloof.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, I don't know. His stuff is crazy,
Yeah.
for sure.
Did you keep up with that drop? I mean, I guess just because it's more current events and it's just very top of mind.
Mm,
I kind of felt bad for the guy with that won the gift, where he had to re-gift it to somebody else.
I don't know. I see. I didn't follow it. I'm not gonna lie,
Mm-hmm.
because
Grinding.
I've been I've just been busy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did one collab in the beginning of the year, and then the glass crane one came out of nowhere. Like we
Mm-hmm.
didn't plan that. It just happened.
Yeah.
Like it just happened, and then we did it. And then I'm working on one right now with Digital Dingbat, I
Mm-hmm.
guess is his name. He just changed it from that to, or yeah, from Digital Dumbass to Digital Dingbat. So I'm working on one with him right now. And
Mm-hmm.
this one's like super in depth. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
been putting in, I think yesterday I sat in this chair for like close to like 16 hours straight,
Jesus, man.
just laying it into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even like close to being done. So I'm like, shit, this one's gonna be serious. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just get lost in it sometimes. So like Twitter, I'll pop on at the end of the night, like once I've had enough,
Mm-hmm.
and then if I catch it on my news feed, I catch it. If I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I don't. That's just kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Um, Pack, Pack is just too crazy for me, man. Like his trying to figure out the puzzles, it takes too much of my space and my brain.
Mm-hmm.
When I've got a lot on my plate, with managing my regular life,
Mm-hmm.
and then doing lane stuff
Mm-hmm.
and trying to keep up with that, trying to advertise my artwork that is available.
Mm.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I know why some of the artists have like managers that, take care of all that stuff for them or, stuff like that. But I'm trying to do everything on my own. And thankfully, I don't have that much clout yet
Mm.
because it would be intense at that point, and I'd have to have a manager.
Mm.
And I'd also be making good money too, so it'd be okay, you know. But yeah, I try and pay attention to his stuff. I mean, I see it in passing, but I don't like. I'm not a collector yet,
Mm.
really. So, and I know I can't afford his pieces. So,
Yeah. I feel the same way. I know how that is.
let's be like. I mean, there's a lot of artists that aren't like Pac,
Mm.
that aren't, at that same value.
Mm.
They're even, maybe like $1,000 or $2,000. I still can't collect it, but there's art pieces out there that I would, if I had the money,
Yeah.
like if it wasn't an option, I'd own all of them. I'd be a collector too,
Yeah.
because they say something to me.
Mm.
So it's just, you just gotta get there one day.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll sell a couple more art pieces, buy some Bitcoin, and it'll go back up, and I'll
Mm.
be buying some art. I
Nice.
don't know. That's just But I don't know, Pack. Maybe one day
Hmm.
I'll get more into that. But he did a piece with Glass Crane.
Oh yeah.
It was that was pretty cool. Yeah. And the same collector I was telling you about, Gultra, he ended up collecting it.
Hmm.
And I mean, there was a puzzle to it too.
Hmm.
Like that's just how he rolls, man. Like
Yeah.
that piece was called Thirds.
Thirds.
Um,
Try to
yeah,
pull it
you
up.
could probably bring it up. It
Let's see.
was, yeah.
Let's see. It's loading in right now. Okay, so it's the three
There's three
pretzel
people,
sitting
right?
position. Yeah. Third eye.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Third eye, so trippy, that's
Yeah.
a little glass crane in there for you.
Yeah.
And then, it's Pax rendering with his lighting and, his texturing.
Hmm.
But like it's the rule of thirds,
Hmm.
and it sold for 33.3 ETH.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
Oh my God. That's
like
awesome.
there's three people in the transaction. There's
Hmm.
Pack, there's Glass Crane, there's Gultra,
Hmm.
and then it sold for 33.3 ETH. Like it's a
Done.
puzzle, man.
Yeah.
Everything's a puzzle, and once if you play the game with it, because like the first bid on it was like 3 ETH,
Hmm.
so three, and then it jumped up a little bit. I
Hmm.
mean, there was some controversy in that one.
Hmm.
I don't want to go into it too much with
All
what
good.
happened, but yeah, yeah, it sold for 33.3. That there's a game with every one of his pieces, and
Hmm.
a puzzle. You gotta figure it out.
Hmm.
He's literally like the Riddler
Yeah.
from Batman. That's what I think of him sometimes. I'm like, look at this guy again with the puzzles.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I try to stay up to date with some of the bigger drops, but at the same time, I'm trying to put in the work
Yeah.
so I can become a big drop one day.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I totally understand it. I mean, yeah, it's I totally get the trying to manage your space while trying to put out content and like balancing that because yeah, this is quite the same. I guess do you have any kind of breadcrumbs of your own in terms of the new drop that you have with Digital Dingbat?
Um, I mean, I posted a couple like teaser pics.
Hmm.
I don't know. Can I share my screen? I guess I could actually bring up a
Yeah,
rendered image that I took recently.
yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be
Let
awesome.
me just,
If you, I think it's just on like the bottom left hand corner. If you just right next to video screen.
yeah, I'll show it off real quick.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Just pull it up real quick here. So, like, where is it? There we go. All right, so this one, screen. All right. Can you see it? Cool.
I have to, I think, click watch. Yeah, wow, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. Like I spent some time yesterday
Hmm.
um doing this one.
Hmm.
This is just like a third of the piece right now. So,
Mm.
um he basically for the collab he made like the models like the girl and
Mm,
there's two girls and they were connected by a pipe inside of a like a cube
mm,
like but just like wire framed out
mm,
and a wall in the middle of them. So it's supposed to be like two people kind of looking at each other through a dimension, I guess, from
mm.
separate dimensions. So he sent me that and was like, "Do your magic," basically.
Yeah.
So I just split them apart and took one of them and just started kit bashing. So like if you look at like um I wonder if I could actually open this up in the actual file to kind of show you how I do these things.
Mm,
Um I won't do that. But okay, so like all those parts and pieces that are on the human body,
mm.
those are all like separate geometry pieces.
Okay.
Each little individual piece. So that I just, merge them into the project and put
Mm,
them on the body. I just kind of arrange them to where they look like armor or, you know, like the wings and stuff like that. It's just
mm.
tons of pieces just mashed. It's like mashing a bunch of pieces onto a piece, I guess. And then I literally just go to each individual piece
Mm,
and I color the geometry. Like I select each poly
mm,
and add a color or a light or some kind of texture to it.
mm,
And that's kind of how you end up here. But this is like, I guess I created the piece with all the parts on it
mm.
2 days ago, and yesterday I just spent time coloring. But that's the finished. That person is just
Yeah.
finished. So now I gotta bring the other person into the scene and create the rest of the scene, and then I'm actually gonna animate it. I won't tell you what I'm gonna do. I'll wait until we drop it, but it's gonna be the dopest piece thus far, probably.
Yeah, it's fucking
It's gonna
wild, dude.
be it's gonna be sick for sure. Like like I've been working on it all day, and I'll render out images like this and send it
Mm.
to his name's Darian. I'll send it to Darian and be like, "Yo, what do you think?" And he's like, "Bro, like
Yeah.
what what the fuck?" Like I don't know. I just slap on some glitchy like cyberpunk-esque
Mm.
like music and I just go to town and this is what I come up with.
Nice. And then, so
It's crazy.
on the character's like right hand side, is that like a pistol or is that something else?
Right hand side, like on the leg,
Yes. Yes.
on the yeah, it's actually some kind of futuristic gun.
Okay.
Actually, let me see if I can do this. Let's see, try and open this so I can zoom in and show you.
Hmm. So yesterday you put in 16 hours. Previously, I'm assuming you did at least like another like 16, right? Give or take.
Probably a little bit more.
Yeah.
Putting the pieces on is kind of hard. Like you're gonna first of all, I had to like he sent me like a scene that was already complete, just ready to be textured. But
Mm,
when you do the kit bashing and stuff, you have to like I couldn't do it with the other person. It was like in the way
mm,
and like some of the it's not how I would have done it, if I
mm,
would have done it by myself.
mm,
So I had to remove the noise, I guess, so I could work on one piece
mm.
at a time. So it probably so far I've probably invested 3 days,
That's
like
fucking
half
wild, man.
half 3 half days, I guess.
Mm,
I literally like I'll stand up sometimes and be like, oh, like because I've just been sitting here for so long, and
mm,
but like I honestly forget sometimes. Like I'll start at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
mm.
and I'll look at the clock and be like, shit, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I gotta go to bed. Tomorrow's gonna suck, but I love it, man. I'm just like. I really hope one day I can, just leave my job
Mhm,
of 5 years.
mhm,
I used to look at it as a career, but like, and I love it. I still kind of love it. I mean, I sell, wine and spirits to the big grocery store chains. I've
mhm.
been doing it for 5 years, and I sell some of the top brands in the
Nice.
United States, probably if not the world,
Mhm.
like Jameson and stuff like that. So,
Awesome.
I love that. stuff and like being around like all the customers and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, mm, this is much better. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just love making art.
Yeah.
So let's see. I can stop streaming that.
Oh,
Oh,
I got some audio.
there you go.
There you go.
I don't know what.
It's all
Should we
right.
try
Discord's just glitchy
that
sometimes.
or
Sorry about that, man.
it's cool, it's cool. I think it was my Discord. I don't know. I reset my internet or not reset my internet, but I changed servers.
Mm.
So, because there's like four people living in this house, and sometimes that could be the internet.
It's
I
all
don't
good.
know. Do you want me to try and show this again?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, if it's interesting to you, I mean, it looked awesome. I don't really
Yeah,
know too much about like the actual editing that goes on behind the scenes, but it's look
yeah,
behind the veil.
yeah. We'll try and show it here. Let's
Mm.
see. Can you see the screen and see me?
So I got you. There you go. Yep.
You got everything?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so let's see here. So this is the software I use. This is what I use to like add texture,
Mm.
lighting, camera angles, stuff like that. So um, let's see if we zoom in on these things. So let's see here. So like here's like all the parts
Mm.
over here. This
Jesus.
is every part that is on this piece.
Yeah.
So there's 164 objects on top of one object.
Mm.
And I literally like I can pick this piece here
Mm.
and like I can move it.
Huh.
So I just move it and then like I can move anything I want around. I
Mm.
can go in and change, how it looks. So like it's gold right now.
Mm.
I have it selected. I can click on the surface, then fill selection.
Mm.
Let's see. Right, so it's gold right now. Let's
Mm.
say I want it to be this color. Let's drag it. So like
Mm.
you can literally just sit there all day and just change shit around. Let me make it chrome. Um, just changes the whole piece. So like you've seen the front of it
Uh-huh.
in that picture. So this is where it's gonna get. This is what took me the longest. Um, the back of it.
Oh, fuck. Uh, you dropped.
You look, all right, hold on. Let's see. It just doesn't like the software.
Maybe it's the combination.
It might be the combination. I'll try and show it one more time. I don't know almost done. The
Okay.
back is the best part
I
to me.
know I know Discord is like insanely just heavy duty. There you go.
Yeah. So the back is what took me the longest yesterday, I guess.
Mhm.
It's pretty intense, like
Yeah.
spinal cord and um, just the wings, all of it. I mean, I'm literally just like taking geometry
Mm.
and selecting every polygon that's on it and changing the appearance of it
Mm.
just to fit the scene.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's pretty much this is where I spend most of my time, just texturing and making stuff look cool.
Mm. Dude, I mean,
But
it's awesome. I mean, I
I
have I got none of this.
that's
So this is
that's why we did this. There's the gun.
yeah, that looks sick.
So yeah, I don't know. Just go in and select weird shit
Mm.
and change the colors of it and make it light up and yeah. There's another one on the other side. See if I can show you that before it tries to kick us out again. Yeah. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting to
It's just
see like
fun
the
and it's
differences
so
between
high quality.
mm.
Like
Yeah. I like I
that shit is dope.
yeah, that's amazing. Like I don't that's it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Did it kick us out again?
I think so. Yeah. Yep. There you go. There you go.
I'm
Fuck.
done
I think
anyways
I
on my
shanked it.
screen.
Yeah, I think I shanked it switching over to the full screen. Um. All right. Well, I mean, as far as it goes, I'm out of questions. Do you have anything for me?
Um, I mean, how long have you been doing a podcast?
The podcast has been going on for like 2 months right now. Um,
2 months.
yeah, I just kind of like leapt into it as a creative space and just try and interview people that are in my life in some form or another, and to try and just kind of snapshot what's going on. And so hopping into this, the artists are kind of a an interesting thing to me. And then I just have a ton of friends that are decently accomplished themselves, so having them on is a no brainer. And I just like to kind of snapshot what's going on with my life, other people's lives, and whatever. It's basically how I treat Instagram. It's just a snapshot of what's kind of going on.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's my first like podcast, but
Mhm.
it's like very reminds me of like Joe Rogan. So maybe one day,
Maybe.
one one day you'll get there and you can smoke some pot with Elon Musk.
Ah, shit. Elon doesn't like people saying that he smokes pot. I
Oh,
guess.
he definitely, bro. He goes to Mars. Of course he does. He's shooting up
uh,
rockets every day. We watch the SpaceX rockets
oh
going
yeah.
off like it's like every week. It's like, oh, you want to go watch the rocket? Everyone's like, nah, I already seen
No.
one. Like it's like that's like the 10th one this week,
Hmm.
you know? So yeah, but it's cool, man. I'm glad we did this and I hope you got some insight. I know I didn't have the answers to some of that
Yeah.
stuff, but it's something to look into and
Hmm.
we'll look into some seeing impaired options maybe
Hmm.
for art in the
Yeah, man.
future. I'm sure it's coming. There's a lot coming in the future. So yeah.
All right.
What other artists do you think you're gonna get on here? Any
Honestly, I'm just reaching out to like a couple different people. I had followed you. I had went through like your Twitter a little bit, and so it's really just people who I've kind of bumped into, right, in terms of the Twitter space right now. And so I found your stuff interesting, so that kind of happened. The guy who won the gift, off the top of my head, I cannot remember his name. He's also an artist, so I figured I'd reach out to him because it's just interesting. I don't know. So the guy who won the gift, there was a clip that was probably like 10 minutes long, and over the span of like 1 second, you had to like, just hit the space bar, I guess, quickly, and it
Mhm.
would move, and you got like little squares of a QR code that this guy assembled into a piece, and then scanned the QR code. That came out with whatever, like I forget again off the top of my head, a phrase, and then he tweeted it. And so one guy won, and then they were like, "Oh, the Twitter algorithm actually says he beat you by I don't know, whatever, seconds, right?" And so they basically give it to this other guy, and he goes, "Yay, I got the gift." And then they go, "No, the gift is the gift because you have to gift it, right? That's what the title is." So he won it to gift it to somebody else. So like, it's an amazing piece to have gotten, but then it's not yours, right? And so
Yeah.
that's in terms of what you're saying with like Pac being the Riddler, he's the fucking Riddler.
He is. He's the fucking Riddler. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, definitely you're gonna have fun in this space, man. The community's great. A lot of us artists are probably more interesting than me and some of
Nah,
them been
dude, this
around
was
a lot.
awesome. At par at best.
Yeah, yeah. There's some cool ones, man. I would try and like reach out to like if I had a podcast, I'd probably reach out to Glass Crane, but he was
Mm,
just on one for Super Rare Spotlight with Parrot. Parrot's probably a good one to reach out to.
okay.
It's Parrot, Droid Visuals.
Mm.
If you can get Android Jones, I don't know, but that's like
Maybe not.
that's like that's like the legend. I mean, everybody
Mm,
looks up to him. Like his,
mm,
if you watch his, I, I challenge you to just watch some of his time lapses
mm,
on YouTube, like how he creates his work. It's like how that's just wild stuff. Yeah, there's some cool artists out there,
mm.
um, and this community is great. So have fun with that,
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
and maybe we can do another one in like 10 years or so.
Nah, dude. I mean, yo, 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year.
Yes, six
That's what I've
months
been
to a
telling
year.
people. We'll do some follow ups with people, see where they're at. Yeah, I mean, I've had on a couple different people and stuff to that extent, but that 6 month to like a year timeline, I think you're gonna be coming a long way. So I think there'll be some news and some happiness in your life and stuff to that extent, because the art's self evident. So I'm hyped.
For sure. For sure. All right, man. Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Appreciate the
having
time,
me.
man.
Yeah, man. No problem. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the time. Appreciate everything. And hopefully you guys got a kick out of it like I did. Hopefully you guys are having some good success with your New Year's resolutions. Stay strong. Stay motivated. Tune in soon. Episode 15 coming soon. Taking a week off. Going to be taking it easy for a little bit. So appreciate all the feedback. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on all the other platforms. And have a good one. Be safe.